Good afternoon. I am standing in the middle of the Hwaseong Fortress right now, and I am right in front of the great banquet hall where King Jeongjo, I believe that's how you say his name, held a huge banquet for his mother's birthday. I believe that's what it said. It was either his mother's birthday or in honor of his mother. And there was like 12 appetizers, 70 main courses. It was pretty intricate, and they have this whole diorama set up inside of the actual banquet hall, so you could actually see the banquet hall as it was used, which was really cool. The banquet hall was also set up in a certain area to where there was like rooms that were dedicated to each part of the banquet, so that was really neat to see. Other than that, I actually passed through a couple of gates. I think I could get it behind me here. Yeah, like that. In order to get here, there was nothing really in those gates. It was just there was a sign, and I mean, just the gate really. And then behind me directly is their adjunct government official houses that helped build the fortress and were really important into the creation of this fortress. So that's why they were able to live within the walls. Yeah, let's get on to the next spot, and I'll check back in just a moment. It's been like 5 seconds since I stopped filming that last segment. I just wanted to make a correction because I was rereading the sign. This is Bongsudan Hall that we were just looking at, and it wasn't a banquet hall. It was the main hall for the emperor or the king, and he held a banquet there for his mother's birthday. So it's not that it was a banquet hall, it is a throne room hall, if anything. And so I just wanted to make that correction just so that I knew. Anyhow, I'll be back in a moment. Now, right behind the royal hall is actually the servants' quarters where I'm actually standing right now, and the royal hall actually looks quite good from the backside of it as well. I think this would be considered the backside. They have the servant quarters dioramaed up too, so you can see like a eunuch that's reading, or a lady in waiting who's actually, she's like preparing some clothes. And so they're really small rooms. There's also like kind of cooking quarters back here, but it's really well maintained and it looks really good. So about to go into the next area over here now, and we'll check back in a moment. Welcome back. Now I'm at the next hall. It's right behind me. It's actually called the Noraedong Hall, and the idea behind it is that this is where the king would go to relax when he was tired or wanted to get away from other people. Now, I think there's a bunch of actresses walking through here. That's pretty crazy. I wonder what's going on over there. There must be something happening. There is just a ton of people all of a sudden coming through. Anyhow, this hall is pretty amazing. It's huge, but it is all closed off, so you can't see on the inside, unlike the other kind of diorama areas. So, that being said, we'll check back in a moment. There was actually not too much to see here. Yeah, they're all running back and forth, the actresses. Or actors. This is pretty interesting. No idea what's going on. But I think that's the next area that I'm walking to, so be back in a moment. So, I just got told that we're not allowed to go into that area that all the actresses were running back and forth from in front of the Noraedong Hall. That was pretty intense. There's a ton of people over there. I don't know what they're doing. It looks like some sort of show, which I think they're just practicing for, so it makes sense that they don't let you go. So I'm just gonna head on back and over to the next section. But yeah, we'll check back in a moment. Welcome back. Just saw they are practicing for a show way back there, and so they've actually closed off one of the halls because there's going to be a theatrical show type of dance and martial arts type of deal, which is cool. I don't know how well you'll see it in the footage that I took, but it is what it is, and I mean, they're practicing anyways, so I didn't want to stay there too long and get in trouble for filming people that probably shouldn't be being filmed. Anyhow, I am currently walking on the backside of the royal hall, and the idea is I just want to come back and see this because behind me there's like a forested area that I'm going to go up in a second. I don't know if you go up and come back down. And I don't see anyone really in this area, so I wanted to walk over here. And while I do that, I thought I'd mention what I was reading about this place. So this fortress was actually created for, I believe it was Prince Sado's dad, was what I was reading. And what happened was his dad was considered a madman and was executed by his grandfather. So the king at the time executed the crown prince, and the crown prince's son witnessed it, and it stayed with him. Whoa, it was a really narrow pathway. I don't know if I'll actually make it through. Oh, I made it. So, as I was saying, he witnessed his father getting killed, which was in one of the worst ways. They pretty much locked him up in a box and starved him to death. And it took over a week to do so. But after that, the king declared that no one was ever to talk about the son that was executed, the prince that was executed. And so when the next in line crown prince, Prince Sado, I believe it is, I'll have to look that up. When he came to power, the first thing he said was, I am Prince Sado, son of this king, who, maybe it was King Sado, right? And he showed that he wasn't afraid of talking about his father who was executed, even though it was against his grandfather's rule or wishes. But his grandfather was dead at the time, obviously, since he was becoming king. And when he took the throne, he wanted to move the capital from Seoul to Suwon, where I'm currently at. And thus, he actually started building this fortress as well as the wall that surrounds the entirety of Suwon. Now, that was Suwon at the time. Now, Suwon is actually larger than the wall that he built. And as you walk around, you actually see the city on both sides of the wall, which is kind of neat. It's one of those like legends that or historic, popular, not beliefs, it's historic fact, right? Because they have it written down and all that, or it was passed down from whoever the heroes were at the time. And they wrote down that it was one of the greatest shows of a son being loyal to his father and building this whole area. But I did think that was pretty cool. I'm going to check out this kitchen that I just walked into. It looks like it was in a drama or two. We'll see what's going on. I'll check back in a moment. And welcome back. Just a quick update to that story that I gave. Prince Sado was the prince that was actually killed. The son's name was King Jeongjo, and King Prince Jeongjo at the time witnessed his father get killed. And I actually found an area in the UU Tech Hall, which I'll talk about in just a second, that actually has the way that his father, Prince Sado, was executed. He was trapped or locked into a rice box, and I didn't know what that meant until I actually saw it. And it's literally how they used to store rice was in these boxes, and he was locked in there for about 8 days that's how he died. The Prince Jeongjo or Gongjo at the time witnessed that, and then he came and, like I said before, wanted to make the capital Suwon and built this entire place in dedication to his father. And so it's pretty massive. Now, where I'm at in UU Tech Hall is one of the main halls that the king would use, King Jeongjo would use to receive guests, to do magistrate testing, and to do royal biddings, I guess you could say. Now, when he passed away, they actually put all these images of him in this area, and it became a shrine for that king at the time. And so I think it's pretty cool. But this place is actually huge, and you can kind of see how like they'd put a bunch of like tables or whatever here in this main hall area, or the main plaza or courtyard area, and set up a testing area for magistrate people to become government officials. But yeah, so I think that's it for this kind of area. I'm gonna go ahead and head on up the mountain now and see what's over there. So I'll be back in just a moment. And I'm back. I am sorry about the music. I'll go into that in a second. But I'm at the Hyeongdaechong and I forgot the names. Man, me and Korean names, they're so bad. I'm so sorry. Like, I hope one day I will be able to really remember them well. So it's Hyeongdaechong and Jeongsacheong storehouses. And these two storehouses are pretty fantastic looking. They look like temples to me. And so it's like, it's incredible to see. And then as I walk to the back, there's this like magnificent like well. I don't know what to call it. It's a waterway of sorts. And so it's off currently, but it's really pretty. And then if I go over past one of these walls that you see behind me, it's up that way. That's the other storehouse. But it's just this sectioned off corner of the fortress. And now, yeah, so this is just the main well. Apparently it was used to supply all the water for the fortress. But all right, let me go into the noise. So all right, people are coming by. So as I was saying earlier, there is some sort of performance that's happening, and I didn't take any footage of it earlier because I was like, okay, they're blocking it off. They don't want you to see it. But as I came over here to the storehouse, there's literally a ton of people, spectators, just sitting on like a hillside. And there was actually a little kid who was like filming it behind a thing of bushes. So I took a few photos from where I was, the hillside that I was climbing. And then as I was coming into this storehouse area, I just scanned their performance. You're only going to catch a real quick glimpse. Again, they're practicing, so I don't really want to film too much of them. I understand what it feels like when that happens, so it's like, it's just a pain. They're pros. They're just ignoring everybody. You could totally hear the director telling people what they need to do better, or what they, what they're doing great on. I'm sure, like, they looked great, so I'm not all too like surprised. But they keep starting, stopping, and the music just keeps blaring and then stopping, blaring and then stopping. It's interesting. There's a huge group of spectators looking at it though. So I'm just gonna view this well, go to the next storeroom and probably get a little bit of footage there. And then I believe I'm off to the next place. I'm kind of running a little bit behind. I don't know how long it's gonna take me to march all the way up to the next, or to like the high point of the wall, which is really the goal, I guess, for today. Other than that, that'll pretty much finish me off, and then it'll be time to look for dinner. So far, pretty awesome place. Really appreciate what they've done here. I hope they really maintain as well as they did. I do know that there's a reconstruct. I should mention that. As always, it was destroyed by the Japanese when they invaded in like the 1910 era. So, and then they rebuilt it to what like architectural drawings they had of the place. So overall, looks great. I hope that I'll be able to fly my drone when I get a little farther out, because I've seen quite a few people are flying their drones over there. So we'll be back in just a moment here. Okay, so I thought this was the other storehouse, and I thought wrong. The original storehouse that I saw just now was actually split into two, and that's why they called it two storehouses, which is weird to me. This is the Unhangak Hall, and the thing about this is where King Jeongjo is entombed. And that being said, there's actually a bunch of paintings and everything around him here as well. This is the like official shrine for him, and there's actually people praying over there as well, which is pretty intense. And yeah, it's a pretty fantastic looking place. I think finally, yeah, I'm coming to it's a ritual house is what it's called. This ritual house is where officiants prepared and proceeded over the rituals. When a king would take part in the rituals in person, he would change clothes here, and he entered the courtyard of the main hall through the front of the building and followed the stone pathway to the main hall. And so, yeah, it's a pretty humble looking building, but maybe it should be because it's a spiritual place, right? That being said, I'm pretty sure I've finished up my trip around here. There's not much more to see at this fortress. I think I'm gonna make my way up the wall next. So we'll see you in the next video.